Hiya, I am the Explicit Empress, and I wanted to talk to you about the energy surrounding this Taurus new moon. So one of the meanings of this Taurus moon is to help us tune into our natural rhythms. It's to teach us to kind of learn to know who we are, find our center, find our peace, and to sort of teach us to see things and ourselves from different angles, but to move around those angles in a way that still keeps us centered on who we are. Some of the aspects that this moon was making were about bringing in something happening that we can't see coming, but our bodies and our spirit and our emotions being able to feel this uncertainty of not knowing what was about to happen. And the purpose of this energy is to teach us to find grounding, to teach us to be calm in a storm, and to teach us to be able to observe this uncertainty without being shaken from who we are as a person, from our center. So this moon brings in things like new cycles. We start seeing new priorities. We're bringing in new money into the material world. We're sort of learning how to create life and how to care for our body. Taurus is very much about body, and a lot of that energy is being brought up now. We are sort of learning that we can't separate ourselves from our body. We're always in this body always exists, and we have to learn to listen to what it is telling us. And we have to learn to have a true connection with our body, with our external body, with our mental, spiritual, and emotional bodies. And we have to learn that that connection is something that we need to listen to. Some things as simple as hunger. Do you even know when you're hungry? When you're hungry, do you even know what your body is craving? Are you stopping to listen to it? Are you just going and grabbing whatever? Are you not grabbing anything? Are you allowing it to sit in a place of hunger? And that whole concept, when you look at it over the whole entire part of your body being, food for your senses, and how to listen and be easy on yourself with what your senses require. What does your spiritual side require? Your emotional side? Does your physical body need rest? And this moon and the aspects around it are really about trying to go easy on yourself from that perspective of not looking into what externally you are being perceived as, but connecting to what you actually need. And we're going to really start being shown under this energy, under this Taurus energy, where we are abusing our bodies. And it's going to be in ways that you possibly couldn't even think of, because we are starting to learn that we are very much disconnected from honoring our body and its needs. So we are going to be becoming aware of how we're abusing it, with food, with music, with substances, with medications we think we're reliant on, with overly working out, doing too much working out, with being lazy. All extremes are going to start bubbling to the surface to be looked at. So it doesn't matter which one of those extremes you're on. Maybe you're somebody who goes too hard and then is lazy in relation to movement. And so it's about finding that center, finding that middle space, and understanding that today your body needs this, tomorrow your body needs something else, and all extremes are going to be pointed out. We're going to really be looking at what the most needed medicine is for us, physically, emotionally, spiritually, and mentally. And it's really going to be empowered to go through sort of a revolution. With Uranus being around, it's going to be bringing up these unexpected changes and allow us to be able to adapt to them when normally we would be scared. So there's a lot of changes with this Taurus energy that can just come out of nowhere because Uranus is involved. And this could be changes related to our physical bodies, changes related to our material world, our money, our bank accounts, our sense of security, our sense of stability, and how we are going to sort of take care of ourselves in all of these ways by listening to what we need, by being able to do it the proper way. And one of the things that is going to be shown to us is this idea of detaching from being reliant, being a slave to our needs, because a lot of us don't understand what our true needs are, because we have taken on this idea of the collective need of what everybody needs, and it's really disconnected and causes this imbalance in what we actually need. And with Taurus around, one of the things that we are looking at is this external idea, right? So this mirror idea, and being a slave and being reliant to the mirror in a number of ways, okay? So Taurus energy really does, being that the moon and the sun are both in Taurus, our beauty and our physical appearance are being really kind of shown to us, and how we are looking at that. Venus is the ruler of Taurus and is very much about beauty, and the moon loves being in Taurus because Taurus can provide the stability that the moon's nurturing requires. So they're very good friends. So the moon wanting safety and security, and Taurus being able to provide that, gives us this safety almost to really look at how we are potentially making ourselves slaves to these things that are external. So this conjunction with Uranus is also going to help us sort of show us where we are looking at the perception of beauty and values and resources in a very messed up way. And we're going to be looking at things like, are we spending too much time on beautifying this kind of external version of us while we are ignoring this internal version? Things like surgeries will come up. I've spoken to actually a number of clients who have had this on their mind, this idea of do I need this surgery to beautify this external vision of myself? And there isn't a right or a wrong answer, and there isn't a yes or a no, but for each of us there is. There isn't a collective correct answer. But for each of us, there is, if we listen to what our true needs are and why we are doing that. So this kind of idea of this surgery is a very good one to look at, because it is spending time and money and putting focus on external beauty and really kind of neglecting the inner beauty, which can be quite destructive. So the disbalance that this causes between the outer and the inner beauty actually affects all of us subconsciously. So whether you're somebody who feels compelled to go and have these external things changed about you, or you're somebody who doesn't care, it doesn't matter. Collective energy is collected from all of us. And while we are in this time where it is quite popular to be doing those things, we are all actually put out of balance by it. And we're all being asked, where do we focus? Where do we invest our energy in looking at beauty? Are we looking at it from its source, where is the source of beauty? It's in ourselves, right? So we need to invest internally for us to be able to find acceptance in the external. And this energy is really supporting that and really bringing up these ideas of whether we are putting too much energy into this external idea. And it's really, Taurus is very much about the physical body, and we are being asked and empowered to let go of past pains, past memories, past cycles that this physical body feels on a cellular level. The cells in our body are being asked to release all of these past things, release tension, release pain from the physical cells of this body. Taurus is about that physical body, that external idea. So a lot of people are going to be going through illness, going through sickness, experiencing pains. And this is to put tension and pressure on the body so that it can release it. And this internal idea is something that is actually promoted in the external here. And as everything is, as within, so without, as the witches will tell you. And so, we have this external pressure from authorities to earn money, to provide security, to provide stability. And we feel that internally, and we have this tension and this pressure internally inside of our body, and it's those pains and those memories that we need to release, that we need to let go of. It is those things that are causing our bodies to feel these pains, to feel this sickness, in order for us to release and let go. And we really need to look at why we are overworking, and this idea of why am I overworking to overspend, to consume, and really learning to understand the intentions behind that, and are they aligned with what your body is telling you that it needs. A lot of people are really kind of coming to terms with the fact that externally they look like they're up and moving and they're doing a lot of things and they're overworking, etc., but internally they're dead. Internally their inner child, their soul, their needs, their desires have been long forgotten and are dead in the ground. And we are being empowered to resurrect that now, to resurrect from the inside this idea of who we are, excuse me, and really look at the intention that we are putting behind this idea that we need to always be providing, that we always have to overwork to provide, we have to overspend to consume. And where is the value being created for our physical vessel, spiritual vessel, and our emotional self? And so is there too much focus on earning money just to then focus on external beauty? Is there too much focus on needing to overwork because we have to overspend in order to consume, in order to meet this idea that society has created that people who overwork are actually the highest kind of person in society? And we really are being asked to look at, what this world has created that is good and valuable, and what it's created that is kind of distraction from being able to look at our inner beauty and our inner self, and what brings us joy and what brings us satisfaction and what is actually enough for you. What is your body telling you? Okay, so when we ignore these sorts of things, that's when we attract things like misfortune, we attract things like illness, because we attract things that are trying to teach us something, that are trying to show us something about the direction we need to go in. And you think about that idea of when you're unwell, particularly if you've been unwell for a very long period of time, and all you wish for during that time is to be well. All you wish for is for the relationship with your body to be a healthy one, for your body to be healthy, to be able to get up in the morning without pain. And we really come down to this basic understanding of what our bodies needs when we are unwell. And we really have to start listening to it. We get forced into it some of the time. We get unwell, we get forced into bed. We get unwell, we get forced into a hospital. We get forced to have these tests to look into things that we maybe should have looked into before. And all of this Pluto energy around right now is very good energy for uncovering mysteries and for really using that energy to push forward and discover what the actual underlying issue of the pain, of the constant illness, of these physical representations that our body is showing us. And with that, there really is coming up a lot of fear, and a lot of fear around what happens if I do need to change, if I do need to change my diet, if I do need to change my lifestyle, if I do need to quit smoking, if I do need to quit drinking, if I do need to stop these things that my body has been telling me for a very long time are actually bad for me. And there is a lot of that energy coming up now, and we are being presented with these illnesses and empowered with Pluto to investigate them and to find out which ones we need medication for, which ones we can actually fix ourselves, which one we just need, to look at and release. And it all kind of is coming together in this massive kind of chaos tornado for people. And Taurus really does invite us to bring this spirituality, this spirit feeling of spirit from the universe into our senses, into all five senses. And it really puts us into a very high vibrational current. And it's not something that we can run from, It will present pain in one way or another. And the purpose of that is because that is how we grow. Pain and, and issues and problems and chaos it is the primary ingredient to alchemy, to growth, to empowering ourselves. And when we face these limitations and these stoppages and these lessons, we really have to look at opening that gate then. How do I get through? What actually is do I need to have with me in order to empower me to open that gate? And looking at our self-worth is where we find those powers. And this is also the energy with Taurus and being ruled by Venus of relationships. And I know this through a lot of clients and a lot of people that I've spoken to, that there's this idea of like, I'm trying to find the right person. I'm trying to find the right person. Who's my match? Who's my person? Who are my friends? Where are my soul family? And, you know, the question right now being put out there is, if you are looking for the right person, are you actually trying to be the right person, trying to be the version of what you are looking for, and really embodying that, really understanding yourself from all five senses, from spiritual, from emotional, from physical, from mental, from everything, and really kind of looking into who you are as a person and trying to be the right person versus trying to find the right person. Because if your energy is in being the right person, that is what we will attract in. So we are really being empowered to love ourselves, and love ourselves with Aquarius being where Pluto is, from our eccentric centers, from our weirdness, from the parts of us that cannot be copied. You know, each and every one of us is a puzzle piece that cannot be copied. We can have similarities, but if birth chart readings has taught me anything, even twins born minutes apart can have differences in their birth charts, can have a degree out here or there, a house slightly different that twists the energy to make them their own individual self. I've done a number of twin birth charts, and I've not yet found one that is exactly the same. So we really need to appreciate who we are right now in this present world, and stop trying to jump forward to the next thing. We're all very much caught up in that world of running out of time, and we tend to not, and I'm guilty of it too, not be present in the moment and really appreciate who we are now, what we are, and that difference that we can bring to the world. So really looking at trying to find calmness and trying to find simple pleasures and enjoyment, and understanding, and this is something that I've also been talking about a little with my clients, this, you know, we're very big on writing a what if it goes wrong list, you know, and that's what stops us from moving forward. And a lot of the time, the thing that's actually stopping us from moving forward is a shadow that you could find in what if it goes well? What if it works out? And there's a lot of energy inside of that, this fear of success, this fear of growth, this fear of creating something changeable, this fear of what listening to our bodies actually means. Because if our bodies are telling us to stop giving it the poison, you know, stop eating those foods, stop hanging out with those people, stop having these energies, stop with these substances, stop these patterns that we cling to for security, that like if we stop these things, if we actually stop and listen and to what this physical vessel is showing us, there is a deep fear of that change and what that affects in our lives. You know, there's this idea of like, that will affect, you know, if I'm not going to eat those foods, if I'm not going to drink that thing, if I'm not going to smoke that stuff, then a lot of the people in my life might disappear. A lot of the relationships I have might disappear. And there is a huge fear attached to that, to losing people, to not having your security around you that you are used to having. And so we need to understand that, you know, inside of this fear for what if it goes wrong, most of our deepest fears and the deepest things that are stopping us from moving forward are actually in the fear of the positives. What if it works? What if I need to, you know, expand my life in ways that are going to be hard, that are going to be uncomfortable? What if it works and I need to get up at 7 a.m. every morning? What if I need to change my complete routine around eating? What if I need to work on giving up that substance, replacing it with something healthier? There is so much fear around what if it works that we don't look at, because we're always in the negative. Humans are always in the negative. We're always quite happy to go, what if it fails? Like, oh, I'm not going to do it because what if it goes wrong? Whereas, you know, so many points of stopping us from moving forward are actually in the fear of the success, the fear of it working out, the fear of actually tapping into that energy. So we are really sort of being shown balance, you know, don't give too much, don't take too much. And this idea that all of these bubbling up emotions of fear and anger, they really do need a safe space. And you can't shut them down and you can't give them too much air because we don't want to be projecting them onto other people. But we really do need to understand that they need a safe place to exist in us. We need to feel through them. So with Saturn in Pisces making a sextile this moon as well, which is just coming back down to this whole Taurus and the relationship you have with your body, it's very much about sobriety. Okay, Saturn in Pisces is very much leading everyone to this idea of sobriety. And Saturn being the rule maker, okay, that's the big daddy rule maker. And, you know, he's trying to show us that everything in excess is not good. You know, having too much of a good thing is not good. Too much of a bad thing is not good. And we need to find this balance. It doesn't matter whether it's good or bad, right? And this fear of sobriety puts us into a place of then having to feel things out, to understand things, to stop escaping things. Pisces is very much about escape. Saturn is the rule. We are trying to escape these rule structures that we know our body is trying to show us, that we know our spirit is trying to show us, that our emotions are trying to show us. And sobriety brightens that light. If we are not dimming it with distractions of substance or negative people or other, you know, over-sacrificing, trying to fix other people's problems, we actually have to listen to that. And Big Daddy Saturn wants us to grow and wants us to mature and wants us to take responsibility for our feelings, for our thoughts, for our physical vessel. And so he's making this aspect with this Taurus moon, which is very much about that external world and how we see it, and wants us to take responsibility for what's happening there. You know, in our presentation, in how we're presenting ourselves, in how we're actually listening to our bodies. This idea of being the victim to pain, the victim to bad relationships, the victim to failure. We are being asked by Big Daddy Saturn to take responsibility of that and to understand that we're perhaps not listening to the body, not listening to our mental state, our emotional state, our spiritual state. We're not listening to any of those things, and that we need to make that change, and that fear is actually in it working out, not in it not working out. The ego self is very comfortable in it not working out. The ego self will want us to have it not work out because it has comfort there. Better the devil you know is basically the whole concept of our ego self, you know. Better the devil you know. As long as I know what's coming, I know how to act, and I feel happy there, even if it's a bad situation, okay? So looking at things, listening to your body, understanding what the pain is trying to tell you, and looking at things, Taurus, again, being about money, how you're spending money, how you're earning money. What is that telling you about that, about yourself? What is the intention behind it? What is the intention behind overworking? What is the intention behind, you know, concentrating on the external beauty? What is the intention on needing to consume? What is your intention behind those things? Because that is where you will learn about yourself. That is something that yourself, your higher self, is trying to show you. Your reaction to other people's overspending, overworking, is just trying to show you something about yourself. So yeah, under the energy of this Taurus new moon, we are really being invited to look at things from this perspective of listening to ourselves. And with Chiron in Aries and Lilith in Virgo, and the whole Libra Aries eclipse that we have just come through, we are really being shown that Libra showed us relationships that weren't balanced within us, the way that we saw relationship dynamics, work, business, family. Things that weren't aligned with us were then being thrown out, Aries, because I know that they don't work for me. I am energy, okay? So I balanced to I am energy. And now with this Taurus energy, this stable energy that we are all trying to embody, we're really seeing holes in our stability, holes in our security, holes in how we look at ourselves, how we don't listen to ourselves. And we're really being empowered to notice this fear of the positives that we are ignoring, and to stop thinking, you know, what if it goes wrong? Because we all know what's in there. We've all overthought those things. We all need to be focusing on what if it goes right? What if I listen to my body and I need to change things? That's where the real fear is that's stopping our growth. That's where the real fear is that's stopping everybody from moving forward, is in facing this enemy, is in learning from the enemy, which is this fear of success that we all have, this fear of sobriety, this fear of people thinking that we don't fit in, we don't look right, we don't act right, and that we need to fit into this idea of this collective society that we don't even know what our needs are anymore. Do you need to work 3 jobs, or are you only working 3 jobs because you need to consume something that makes you acceptable to the collective? What is your body actually telling you? You know, do you need to go out on a Friday with your mates after work and have a drink because it's good for you? Or are you doing it because you think society needs you to do it? Like, what are your needs? What are your internal needs is what we're being asked here. And we've been given a lot of support to adapt with Uranus, to look at these shadows with Pluto, and to really feel out a rule structure with Big Daddy Saturn around. So if you want to get a little bit deeper into what this means for you in your specific chart, and where you can kind of really look at the energy from your own filters, from your own pain and depth and your own wounds, which is my specialty in birth charts, is looking at your wound story and how it relates to your destined outcome, please book a birth chart with me. We can do a consultation where you and I can have a chat about your whole birth chart, or I can just write you up a report. So go check out my website if you're interested in that, and really use this Taurus energy and invite that spirit into all parts of who you are, and really listen to what it is trying to tell you. Okay? Stay weird.